Evening, welcome to the November 9th, 2022 meeting of the Hatfield Select Board. As always, I'm going to begin tonight's meeting by reading our public participation policy.
Excuse me.
The Hatfield Select Board welcomes everyone to its meetings and all other public meetings of the town of Hatfield. All regular and special meetings of the boards and committees of the town of Hatfield shall be open to the public and shall conform to the open meeting law. Executive sessions are closed to the public and will be held only as prescribed by the statutes of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is important to recognize that the open meeting law affords the opportunity to listen to the proceedings but not necessarily participate. During meetings of the Select Board, an attempt will be made to find a balance between hearing from members of the community and conducting the required business of the Hatfield Select Board. Our first order of business is an announcement that we want to make, that the town of Hatfield will be getting an additional $1.5 million in funding to go towards the water and sewer infrastructure improvements out on Route 5 and 10. Let me read the announcement. Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development, Secretary Keneally approves an additional allocation of $1.5 million for the Route 5 infrastructure improvements project on Route 5 to support an unanticipated project cost deficit due to an unexpected high water table and poor soil conditions that interrupted the project. Assistance for a supplemental funding request was led by State Senator Joe Comerford, including support from Representative Lindsay Sabadosa. Senator Comerford worked diligently with EOHED on behalf of the town of Hatfield. Town officials had an opportunity to meet with MassWorks Program Assistant Secretary Juan Vega and Undersecretary Ashley Stobla to review the infrastructure expansion project. The additional allocation increases the MassWorks grant commitment from $2 million to $3.5 million that Hatfield previously committed match funds of $1.6 million. So on behalf of Hatfield Select Board and all the residents of town, a million thanks, literally, to State Representative Sabadosa and Senator Comerford for their unbelievable efforts. I just really want to point out, first of all, a couple things. An explanation, we ran into significant unexpected costs out there that had, as this mentions, it had to do with the water table and the poor soil conditions. So the fact that Senator Comerford, and she really led the charge on this, she worked really hard and really kept Hatfield's interests at heart and was able to leverage. I mean, $1.5 million is a lot of money. And she was able to leverage us getting that, which meant we didn't have to go to townspeople for this unanticipated expense. So it is an absolutely huge feat that she accomplished, and we really, really thank her for that. And that will be sent as a press release as well, correct? So we just want to acknowledge that right up front. Did you want to add anything?
I just wanted to thank Marlene and
Yes.
Phil also for their coordinated efforts for the meeting with the various folks that were part of this. So we appreciate that as well.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of teamwork. There were a lot of emails, conversations, and everybody pulling hard for this. And I think it's great we got the 1.5 million. A lot of hard work on everyone's part. So thank you, everyone involved, especially Senator Joe and Juan's office.
Yeah, Juan and Ashley are totally amazing. Both of them.
Wonderful people.
They are really wonderful people, and they stepped up for this little tiny town. That's a big ask, and we appreciate it. In terms of other announcements, I want to congratulate the Smith Academy women's soccer and men's soccer on their outstanding seasons. I know we congratulated field hockey last time, and they continued on through the tournaments. The boys won Western Mass, which was super excited, and then they both advanced into the state tournament. And I think they each won one game in the state tournament. I can't remember exactly, but outstanding teams, wonderful, wonderful young people and young student athletes. And I just want to congratulate them and their coaches for a great season. We had a lot of fun. Everybody had a lot of fun with all of the fall sports teams this year. So do you have an announcement?
Just a reminder, Friday's a small observance in front of Town Hall, 11 a.m. for Veterans Day, if you can attend, that's all. And tomorrow is a breakfast for veterans and COA. And Saturday's a event at the Legion, so it's a busy weekend.
Thank you to all our vets,
Yeah, thank you.
yourself included.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Ed, for your service. And I love that Hatfield still really dedicates itself to
Yeah.
recognizing Veterans Day. So as normal, we have allotted a little bit of time for public forum. I think Martha, you said you were here for public forum. Would it be possible for one of you to give your seat to Martha so she could come up to the microphone? Thank you. Hi, Martha. If you could just state your name and address and.
Hi, my name is this on?
Yes, it is.
Martha Sis. I live at 51 Elm Street, and I've lived in town for 44 years. And recently, in the last couple of years, we have had some lovely offerings by, I think it was the Celebration Committee and maybe the seniors regarding performances and different things that have been going on
Excuse me.
in the town, in the center during the summer. And there's been a series of signs stuck in the ground here and there that says when they're going to be happening. And sometimes if you don't make it the night before, I know they're oftentimes listed on the website. But it occurred to me as I was driving through Chesterfield not too long ago, in front of near their town hall, they had a lovely sign similar to the one probably near Smith Academy in the church. I actually took a picture of it if you wanted to see it. That said, Town of Chesterfield, had like a little point in the top glass. And it listed for the month what was going to go on. And it just occurred to me, we don't have anything really like that in town. And it would be kind of nice if we did. It says Town of Hatfield. We could list things that basically would be for everybody in the town, not your local Boy Scout meeting, but just as a public event calendar. So in this town common is, people say it's not who would see it, but I think it is used, especially if you had a month, or I'm just throwing that out there as a month events. And people walk in the town, people just go through town oftentimes. And so I briefly talked with Lydia about this type of thing, about who would be in charge of, putting the listing of what would go on. And she had some ideas. I said, would this be a difficult thing? Because I know when you're adding somebody's jobs, it always may seem minor, but she had a few really good ideas, good suggestions. So that was one of the reasons I just thought I would bring it to the selectmen and see what you think about this. And I think it wouldn't be a huge expense, but I think it would be something worthwhile for our town to have. And it would kind of look nice, and then people could look at it, especially if they knew it was there and they got in the habit of looking at it and seeing this could be things going on. Are you interested in looking at what Chesterfield looks like, or do you want to see that at a different time?
Sure, I'll take a look at the picture. I mean, we really spend a lot of time and energy trying to make sure townspeople get information about all kinds of different things.
Right.
There's no perfect way to do it that reaches everybody. I have a little concern about how many people would see it here, because not everybody comes down here,
Well,
Martha.
I think if you did it per month, you know what I'm saying? But this is what Chesterfield has, and it's kind of in front of the town hall, but it looks kind of neat.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
nice.
it's nothing that
Mhm.
is out of the ordinary,
Thank
but it
you.
would also say Town of Hatfield, and I don't know if we have anything that says Town of Hatfield. But anyways, I just wanted to bring that up to see what you thought of it. And
Great,
okay.
thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Martha.
Thank you. Anyone else here for public forum? No, okay, so if we could quickly take care of the minutes and then we'll get into the actual agenda. Oh, Brian, this is the meeting you did not attend, correct?
No,
Yes.
I was there.
You were?
Yeah, I put it back there.
I just wasn't in the, heading or, yeah.
Oh, okay. Somebody want to make a motion on the minutes?
That's October 25th. I'll make a motion to
Yes.
accept the minutes from the October 25th Board of Selectmen meeting.
Second it.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so now we have our first matter of posted business tonight is the annual tax classification hearing. This is always a joint meeting with our Board of Assessors who are present here tonight. And this usually just starts off with the Board of Assessors recommendations for the tax classifications for the coming year.
The assessor's recommendations. The Board of Assessors recommends that a factor of 1 be adopted for FY23. This will keep a single tax rate for all classes of property in Hatfield. The Board of Assessors recommends that no open space discount be granted for FY23. The Board of Assessors recommends that no residential exemption be granted for FY23. The Board of Assessors recommends that no small commercial exemption be granted for FY23.
And this is the same as it was in FY22.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So we need to,
You take y'all make a vote
You
on
want
each
the
one.
separate?
Each one.
Yes.
separately.
Oh, we vote each one separately?
Yes.
And do we do, each board votes each one separately?
Just you.
Just
Just
us?
us.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the Board of Assessors recommendation that the factor of 1,000 be adopted for fiscal year 2023. This will keep a single tax rate for all classes of property in Hatfield.
Factor of 1.
Oh, right. What did I say?
Factor of 1,000.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Okay. We wish. Factor of 1. Thank you.
Second.
A motion made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. excuse me.
Regarding the shift from open space to residential class, I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the Board of Assessors recommendations that no open space discount be granted for fiscal year 2023.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye. Regarding residential exemption, I'll make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the Board of Assessors recommendation that no residential exemption be granted for fiscal year 2023.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And regarding small commercial exemption, I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the recommendation of the Board of Assessors that no small commercial exemption be granted for fiscal year 2023.
Second.
A motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I just need the LA 5 sign.
Thank you for putting all that together.
Yes, thank you.
This is the one they signed? Yes.
Oh, that's it.
That's it.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Good job. Thanks,
Thank you.
Dan.
Thanks so much, guys. Okay. So our second topic for posted business is we're joined tonight by representatives of Colonial Power Group to discuss and review the Hatfield Electricity Aggregation Program. Would you mind stepping up to the chairs closer to the mic?
I think all three of us just signed on that one line. That's all I could see.
Good
Welcome.
evening. Hi. Good evening, Mark Capadona, Colonial Power, 5 Mount Royal Ave, Marlboro.
Denise Allen.
Yep, nice to see you guys.
Joseph Capadona.
Nice to see you all.
Nice to see you. So we're here tonight to discuss the municipal aggregation program and the current set of new rates. Before I discuss the rates, I just wanted to give a little preamble about current market conditions and the historic levels that we're at, given a magnitude of issues that are out there. One being LNG prices, two being the conflict in the Ukraine and so forth, driving our energy prices higher. So we've done a couple of small contracts, kind of hoping that things would settle down. At this time, they still have not settled down. It's going to be a fairly long, expensive winter here. I just hope things stay as warm as they've been. So currently, the town has a rate of 15,160. It's just below Eversource West's basic service rate of 15,3. Starting in November, the rate is going to go up to 22,157. So Eversource just went out. We were hoping that we would have some details for you around Eversource's winter rate. So they went out yesterday. We hope to have it to Marlene, possibly as early as next week. There's been a lot of trouble with basic service. They've been unable to get the supply community to bid. So we're hopeful that they were able to procure all of that. Eversource West hasn't had a problem, but Unitil, National Grid, and Eversource East have all had issues with unable to procure basic service at this time. So we're hopeful that we'll be able to give Marlene that number. We do expect it to be elevated to the amount I really couldn't say. I'm going to tell you it's somewhere between 20 and 25 cents a kilowatt hour for the basic service rate coming here. The market has softened a little, but when I say softened, I'm saying, gasoline went from $4 to $3.98. So, it's not like it has moved down tremendously. I will say that we're going to continue to watch with Marlene the market. As soon as there's an opportunity in that market, we'll be looking to participate a little bit further, hopefully driving down prices from here.
So Mark, could I
Thanks for
ask
the
you a
overview.
question?
Please.
If I understand, the conversation we had a few weeks ago, so we locked in a rate that is good through December of 2023. If prices started to soften,
Yes.
it would be worth filing an amendment? Is that what I understand? To see if we could
That's
amend the price?
Exactly. So what
Okay.
we would do is go back to the supplier. The winning supplier was Next Era. Go back and see if we couldn't take this price down to 15 cents or something like that, and extend it out a little bit. Right now, it's just not worth the, you know what I'm saying? The fall in price isn't there yet, but if we continue on this warm winter, like we did, that would be a wonderful thing for electricity prices in ISO New England. We'll also drop the curve for 2023 and 2024.
It would.
Everything is artificially raised right now. Fear is just a tremendous rallying point around the energy curve in ISO New England. So let's all hope for a warm winter.
And the new rate that takes effect later this month.
Correct.
Customers will see that on their December bill.
That is correct. The rate will change, and the way energy works, great question. So you use your energy, then you pay for it. So on your December bill, it will have changed with your November meter read, and you'll see it on your December bill.
Now, the current rate, though, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But that's for people who use Colonial.
That are part of the town's municipal aggregation program.
Right.
If you were on a third-party supplier, basic service, this wouldn't have any effect on you.
So the current rate is through November as
November
well.
meter read.
So then customers will get two separate bills, or it'll be staggered on the same bill?
So it won't be staggered. So in November, the meter read, so on your meter read, that bill would be, I would say the 15160. And that would be your November read.
Okay,
You got that bill. Now you'd start accruing in December. Once you got the bill in December, you'd see that 22-cent
okay,
rate.
I see.
Or whatever it is. You're not sure yet.
Well,
Well, for us, we do
for
know.
us, 22,157 is the rate.
For November and December.
That
And
is
it's beyond
correct.
that. Okay, sorry. I did know
The rate
that.
I didn't know is, we were hoping we would know Eversource's rate to compare.
So it would be the competitor.
Or to the,
Competitor.
the
Price
basic,
to compare.
the price. to-
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Price
Marlene, we
compare.
were gonna look to do a postcard to get it out to folks, so we're just waiting for that Eversource rate. We'll send you over a draft postcard, and then
Okay,
what we'll look to do is mail out a postcard to everyone who's currently enrolled in the town's program, just notifying them that this is what you're gonna see, and similar to what you just said, this is what you're gonna see you're gonna see a notice of a change in supplier on your bill here, and then on the next month, you're gonna see the new rate.
right.
And all the information, if folks wanna opt out, et cetera, find basic service rates,
Okay.
more information about the program. So that will go to everyone currently enrolled in the town's program. So if you're not enrolled, if you're on basic service or you're with another supplier on your own, you would not get the postcard.
So the
Okay, that was
current
going to be my
supplier,
next question.
the
Mine too.
current supplier on the existing contract is Dynegy,
Right.
Correct, yep.
and Nextera will be the supplier for the, that takes effect for the rate the end of this month, which will be on their December bill.
That is correct.
It was direct for 3 months.
Oh,
So, yeah.
Oh, it
I-
was direct July
Yeah,
through,
we did
I'm
a short
sorry.
little 3 months.
That's right,
No,
we
perfectly
did.
understandable. So I
We
think
did.
Dynegy until August,
It was,
right? And
that's
then the
right,
3 month
and then it was
direct.
direct,
And yeah, I
yes.
know a lot of jumping.
Is for November and December and then beyond?
Yeah, till,
Okay.
that's correct.
13 months for.
Okay,
what's starting when
I
the-
see. Okay.
Yep.
so they are the supplier. If anybody is not sure, Colonial is sort of the administrator of the
Right.
program.
Right.
Okay.
That's all
And
on
they
the
do a
website,
great
so you
job.
can- yeah.
It is all on the website, and I just want to make sure. So everyone in the program, once we find out the rate, is going to get a postcard for an apples to apples comparison. So someone wasn't watching, they're not paying attention, they're going to get a postcard so that they can, walking back from the mailbox, they'll know, hey, should I opt out or not? It's going to be right there in front of them.
Okay.
And no matter who the supplier is, just the consistency, if you look on your bill in the supplier services section, it does say Hatfield Ag. So
Yes.
it will say like Dynegy, parentheses, Hatfield Ag, direct, parentheses, So that's consistent. If you're not sure about who the supplier is, if it says Hatfield Ag, AGG, you're enrolled. So that's a little easier.
Sorry. Would the postcard you send, excuse me, eventually show the name change or the power company name? In other words, that it's changing from Dynegy to whatever?
Well, on
I
the
think that would alleviate any potential questions, or is
Well,
that?
it says that it'll be changing on this bill. You'll see a note that your supplier is changing.
Oh,
Because
okay.
when there's
That's
the
fine.
note on the
Mhm.
on-bill messaging, the utility doesn't say who you're switching from or to. It just says
Okay.
you're switching. So we don't want to put that in there just because we don't want to confuse folks. They say,
Well, that's what I
yeah,
didn't know.
I know.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. That's fine. That's
And,
fair. Thank you.
on the postcard people get, there'd be a place where they could look for information if they had questions, because this might be a little
Yeah.
confusing to some people.
Yeah,
Okay.
all the information, just so everyone knows, is on colonialpowergroup.com/Hatfield.
Okay.
And the supplier
Okay,
phone
one-
number's on there. They can call the supplier. They can certainly call us at any time. Our phone number's on there as
And what
well.
if people want to opt in? They can go to Colonial
Website or
Power.
call.
Okay.
Yep.
Correct.
Question becomes, our original agreement, did it have an end date? Do we have to reinitiate
There's
it?
always an end date.
And was the end date end of this December?
No, so we had July
It was during the summer.
through September, what
Or
was it?
fall.
It
So
was
it ended
direct.
in August, and then we did a
Yeah.
contract
in
from
August, right.
August through November, and then November, the 13 months was the best term
Term,
through
right.
December of 2023.
Correct.
Okay, so we're good right now to
Oh, yes, we are.
2023.
Yes,
All right.
We are good.
Yes, right
Mhm.
now.
Great.
They're
Excellent.
very helpful. I enjoy working with them. They're
And a
pa-
few. we
They're
appreciate
patient
it.
with me. I'm learning quite a bit
You
from
ask good
them.
questions, so we're happy to do it. Yep.
Great.
Excellent.
Thank you so
very
much for
much.
coming
Thank you
out
for
and
coming in.
giving us the
Thank you so
information.
much.
Yep, nice
Have
to
a
see
good
you again.
night.
Okay, topic number 3 is appointments, and we have John Pease interested in being the Agricultural Advisory Commission representative to the Community Preservation Committee.
I'll make a
You-
motion to appoint John as the representative to the Community Preservation Committee.
I'll second that.
Motion made in second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, John.
Congratulations, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
John
Thank you, John.
replaces.
John replaces,
Oh, actually, no,
Russell
Bob
Powell.
Wagner was Russell Power. That's
Yep.
right, yes.
May I ask a question actually about the ag? committee? How many, with Russell leaving, and I think I saw something where there's
Yeah.
currently only 2 members?
So
Is that
ag-
usually a 3 or
the
5
Ag
member
Advisory
board?
Committee, I believe it's 5. They're in need of people, absolutely. Anyone interested can contact my office and,
Yeah.
or send me an email. Or notify John Pease, anybody who knows John will touch base with me and,
Contacted several
mhm.
people out there. Richard Malinowski's 2 sons. Richie was, remember, first on years back.
Oh, okay.
oh, they'd be great.
Yeah.
Those 2. And there was, of course, John Wilkes' son is already occupied with a position.
Mhm.
He voiced out and just trying to reach out.
Okay.
I think I already told you all the other members.
Yes,
that I
you
reached
have,
out to.
but I haven't received an email or letter of expressing interest in the vacancies. Okay.
John, how often do you folks normally meet? I'm just trying to sort of play up the,
Bob was having us meet as his schedule for the planning board, like between September and May. You know,
once a month or?
once a month. And with the Zoom stuff was, as needed during the pandemic.
The meetings aren't very long
Yeah.
though, are they, John?
Unless there's something that's pressing with the planning board that they need.
Okay.
So once again, the agricultural committee, ag committee is looking for members. It's a member, the committee of 5. They currently have 2 members. So anybody interested, please reach out to
Yeah.
John or Marlene or Lydia to express your interest.
Mhm.
super satisfying to be on a town committee.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. John, we thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Marlene, these fire department, we just signed these. These don't have to be
Correct,
voted.
right.
Okay. I think I ask that every time we get them, but
That's okay.
Yeah, better
Um,
safe than sorry.
okay, so we're all set there. So next up is our DPW report. Phil, you want to come on up? Brian?
Oh.
You want to take up
Phil.
the sewer abatement first?
Sure, if you want.
I don't know, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't, Diana should do that.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm getting.
That's okay.
I'm
I was-
signing all this stuff
Didn't want to
here.
be stepping out of line here.
So
Take a seat.
Phil, we do have two items for you. One would be fairly quick, one I expect might take a little bit longer. So let's go ahead and do the quick one, which is a sewer abatement application for Nolan Circle.
Yes, so they discovered a leak and we helped them trace the leak in one of the water pipes. So they're willing to pay what leaked out of the water for quite a period of time, and then they're looking to abate the sewer side of that. So as you can see that what the abatement is, and you can see that all the bills from in the past were nowhere near what they paid. So we're looking to abate the amount on the abatement for just the sewer side.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the abatement of $4,203 at 7 Nolan Circle due to the faulty leaking water pipe.
Yeah, the water.
But that
Was it
abatement,
not in a water
but the
abatement.
abatement is only
Right.
is only for the sewer.
side.
Mhm.
The water bill will be paid, which is our
Is
normal,
consistent with our, right.
Yep.
Okay,
Second
so,
that.
okay, motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the next item is to talk about the paving on North Hatfield Road. I had calls from several residents not being particularly happy with the paving job that happened out there, I think last week, happened the week before, maybe. I actually expected some folks to be here, but so I thought, we would talk a little bit about, because there was a new product used, and just talk a little bit about that particular job, what's going to happen on that road in the spring, just so people know.
Okay, so we have representatives from all states asphalt here, who were the contractors on the job, so if they would like to step up, and they can explain better than I can what was used.
Hi, Bobby. Hi, Ron.
Hi, Bob.
Good to see you.
Ronnie, you gonna hang out there? Okay.
Staying in the back there.
So Bobby Betzel, for anyone that doesn't know, here from All States Materials Group. So just I guess a brief overview, and I know I spoke with Diana, we spoke with Phil as well, as far as what was done, what the plan is for the overall project, and kind of some of the background. So what's actually been done out there is actually not anything new. It's a step in the process, and I think a lot of what it seems in talking with multiple people is it's more of an understanding of exactly kind of information of what it is. So what this step was is called a shimmer, a level course. So it's hot mix asphalt paved out. It's kind of the in between doing pothole patching and doing a full on overlay. It's kind of that middle ground when you have areas that whether you have potholes, you have rutting or deficiencies or shape issues with the roadway. It's the preliminary course before the overlay. A lot of times what ends up happening is when this is done as a shimmer or leveling course, it's done and then almost immediately afterward, the overlay is done. In the case of North Hatfield Road, the section that was done is only a portion of the overall project. The overall project is actually North Hatfield Road the whole way. So this section was done, and the timing in terms of splitting it between the fall and the spring for a couple of reasons. One, in an ideal situation, everything would have been done in August or September, complete project, and off we go. Unfortunately, and Hatfield is not unique in this, with the timing of Chapter 90 funds being available, and unfortunately this year was even later than normal of those funds, that by the time projects are bid out, availability is a lot of times not there. So if the funds are coming from the current year, by the time they're approved, schedules are filled for the season. In fact, on the FERCog bid, which Hatfield is part of, probably about half the work on that Franklin County bid from this year won't be done until next year because of that availability, the timing, and the funds. The reasoning for doing the shim portion now, as opposed to waiting and doing everything in the spring, is because of that section, and specifically the section that was closer towards Hatfield Beef, which was bad. And there's a lot of issues in there. It's a section that's been patched and the concern is losing that section of roadway. The deterioration, in New England with our freeze-thaw cycles, one winter can really be the difference between falling off to a much more expensive treatment. So by placing that, it levels out that section. It makes it where you don't have water sitting and pooling over the course of the winter and the freeze-thaws with ice, which causes more potholing, more issues. Easier to maintain in terms of a plow cycle for this year. And then come back in the spring. In the spring, the process would be to adjust the structures that are out there, do the final overlay, and then the final striping. And that's kind of the complete process as far as where things are at. Addressing a couple of the concerns, questions, and I guess let's say false information that's been out there. At no point in time was there any discussion about putting a chip seal out there. That road is, I believe, the second busiest road in Hatfield. Also is a very heavy truck traffic road. So for that reason is not a good candidate for a chip seal. So at no point in time was that in the discussion. Similar from a perspective of a mill and fill, which came up. So milling out a portion of the roadway and then paving back in. That section, again, being such heavily traveled and the weight of the traffic, the structure that's there, in reality, that section probably should be a full depth reclamation and build a lot more structure into it. But the cost on that is just, it would eat up all of the budget for a year and then some. So doing a mill and fill and removing material and then paving back in, you're actually not gaining any strength. So really the options are to build that roadway up in that regard. So the mill and fill was also not in the discussion at any point in time. So regardless of what it's building up that roadway. Also that section specifically where the water sits, in some spots is even low. And, trying to get the water out. Water is the biggest, especially the biggest issue for roadways. And it's not a coincidence that the section of roadway that has the most damage is the section that has a lot of tree cover and it sits damp. And it's also, again, you have the low spots there. So, another reason as far as building up the profile of the road in that area. So certainly happy to answer any questions. I don't know if I hit on everything, if anything that, we kind of talked about, but happy to answer any questions or otherwise from there.
The concerns that I heard from residents were just sort of more along the beginning part of it, where it was sort of kicking up and not completely to the edge of the road. But once I talked to you, I talked to Phil, I talked to you, I sort of understood better the process of that this was just a first step and sort of just to get through the winter. And I think that the people I heard from out there, heard the same explanation. And I'm guessing that by the fact that they're not here, they're now satisfied with that. Because I expected there to be, more people here tonight. So.
And the best way, because I've talked to numerous people as well, who have asked, and a lot of it has been really, questions of what, why, and that type of stuff. The best kind of analogy I can make to, a shim course is if you have a wall and you have dents or you have holes in it and that type of stuff, rather than just patching a couple holes, if you have it, essentially that would be like patching a pothole. But if you have where, someone has knocked into a wall and you've got a dent in it or things like that, before you paint it, you take a trowel with spackle or mud or joint compound and you smooth over it. The high spots, nothing goes on to. The low spots get filled in. And it's similar. So some of the areas where right now it looks like, well, the mix has come off, it's peeled off. Well, those are actually areas where it wasn't, there was no place that needed it. So it's hit the low spots or what's filled. And especially actually there's a section as you come up by King Street and through there where the edges, those edges were actually already up and there was kind of dips coming off the last 2-3 feet of the edge. So that's where kind of some of that, and I think sweeping certainly helped because of some of those edges where you had some of that stone that was there, alleviated some of that concern.
And so the structures aren't raised yet.
Correct.
So is that a little bit of a problem with plowing over the winter? No.
They're better
Okay.
low.
What's that?
I said
They're better
off
low,
being
well,
low.
obviously than high, but,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, Bob, I appreciate that, we have you as a contact there and we get this nice explanation from you. I do appreciate that. Do you have any questions, Ed?
No, I mean, I think now that we've put it out there to explain to the people that it's like a patch and why it's a patch, I think that'll help the situation.
I mean, I drive the end of it all the time, getting into my street, and I drove down and, there's parts of it that look fine. And then there's parts of it that really don't look that great. And some of the line painting is a little wonky and that sort of thing. But
Yeah, and the line striping is one of those where, and especially in today's day and age, even though it's only for 6 months from a safety perspective, again, with the heavy traffic out there, it's a temp line. You put a line down to make sure that there is some delineation and visibility wise. So that's temp paint that went down to cover us for the winter. One other kind of going back to a timing perspective and some of the funding. So this project or this portion of it actually didn't come from the Chapter 90 funds either. So this actually was paid out of the winter recovery money. And that's kind of another thing that allowed the project in the timing of it, because where Chapter 90 funds, again, the availability of timing, and then the process for utilizing them is different. The Chapter 90 funds also are funds that can be rolled. So in other words, the town can bank that money and use it whenever, whereas the winter recovery money is readily available immediately. And it also expires at the end of June. So that is money that if the town doesn't spend at the end of June, that money is gone. So it was a good opportunity to be able to get this, avoid more costly potential repairs in preparation for the project had we waited till spring. So it
And
kind
are
of
we
provided that opportunity.
scheduled to have this done early in the spring?
Yep. Yep. So this probably will be the first project out of the gate for that project. Yep.
Okay, and that will go from the end of Straits, my street, all the way down to the end of North Hatfield Road out on 5 and 10?
Depending, yeah, Jared has to look at the budgets and exactly what's available and that part of it. You're kind of getting into again, with the Chapter 90 funds and what'll be available from that. But the goal is ultimately to try and do all of that. It's getting to that point where, again, a couple of years and that roadway with the traffic it gets will fall off.
It's the sort of twisty part of that road
Yes.
by the food bank is pretty bad.
Yeah.
And then once you get to the straightaway, sort of past where Omastas are, it's a little bit better.
And again, not coincidentally, more shady.
Right.
You also get in the turns and that is you get the force of how vehicle and how tires push. So you do get a greater force in the turns, especially when people don't like to slow down in that section as well, even though there's turns. But but it's not a coincidence where you see more deterioration versus not.
Anything, Brian?
No, just thanks for coming and giving us the explanation, Bob. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I do appreciate it. And I appreciate the residents that reached out. They had valid concerns, legitimate concerns with that. So, okay. I guess we're all set.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
So just one quick update with Route 5.
Oh, thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Ron.
So just Route 5, one quick update. Gallagher finished the final paving, the road striped, and they did all the tree belts from the portions that were final paved. So anything that wasn't final paved, because I know that we might get some calls from like the 47 area where they stopped the sewer project because of the groundwater. So like half of that lawn isn't done, but they figured why do it if going forward, we're gonna rip it up anyways. But everything in that, and all the extra pipe and everything that was on that property at the West Hatfield well, at the well was moved. So that's all set. So, I mean, it looks nice. They did a nice job paving down there, so.
It does look nicer. I
Yeah, came
traveled
out
that.
good, yeah. So, I haven't heard any complaints or kind words, but.
So the
that's okay.
storage that's behind, say, Long Streets and that'll stay there over the
Stay
winter?
through the winter, yep.
Okay.
Yep. And there's a little bit of equipment still left there, and the reason for that, I think, is for the pump station. I don't think they moved those pieces of equipment out yet, anticipating putting that pump station in, so.
And I just, without getting into all the details, there were subsequent meetings with folks about some of the issues raised about the location of the pump station and some of the safety issues. And there were meetings with, I know Ed was there. I don't think.
No, I
you were
wasn't there in person.
Ed
no.
took this meeting, which we
Yep.
appreciated. And there was, I think, folks from the utility and CEI and all of that. All of those concerns were addressed.
And Phil and I had a conversation this afternoon about maybe setting up a meeting during the day with the engineers and perhaps maybe a member from the select board.
Again,
two
another
members,
meeting.
On site, yeah. just
Well,
to-
you were on site, weren't you?
I went out there, yes.
Yeah. I happened to drive by when you were
It's
there.
better to be there
Right,
to see
right.
what they're talking about.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, set something up.
Yeah, and it's regarding, the location of the lift station. So
Right.
I think, yeah, actually, we were talking about that today, but we never sort of locked down, when we could maybe, did you say you were going to reach out to Michael?
I'm going to
anyway?
reach out to Michael,
Yes.
yes, because I think
Okay.
it would be a good idea to get together about this, because
Mhm.
obviously between the pump stations, one of the abutters now has concerns, which Ed met with, so.
I've
know,
met with
and-
that at Butter.
And,
As well.
I mean, the article did say, feasibly south. So, I mean, if it's going to be a concern of his where he can't have access to his property on a safety issue, I mean, and a pump station has to move.
You mean access during the construction,
After the construction.
after the construction?
I mean, the way I read the amendment was it only moves if feasible.
Correct.
Right,
If feasible.
So
if
Correct.
feasible.
blocking a driveway is not
or as
feasible, I would
As
think.
feasible, right.
There's going to have to be a compromise.
There is.
I
gonna
mean,
have
that's the
to
bottom
be,
line.
yeah.
We don't want to affect,
Mhm.
there's two businesses down there,
Right.
and we want to have as little impact on both of them as
Mhm.
possible.
Exactly.
That's right.
However, this work needs to get done.
Right.
Right? This is what brings it all together. So we've done our due diligence. We've spoken
Mhm.
to the abutters at length, both. And we just need to move forward with the best plan that affects both of them, hopefully the least. But we certainly can't be blocking driveways.
We do want to
and-
mitigate,
Right,
impact.
right.
I mean,
Mhm.
that's.
That's always been our goal,
Exactly.
quite frankly.
Yeah.
But, anyways, thank you guys for
Yeah.
meeting out there
And that's
and
really
so
what the-
quickly,
The intent is here to do
Right.
that, sort of
Right.
button it up.
So
Yes.
it's buttoned up and everybody's happy.
Well,
I
Well,
think there's
we're
a
just about
logical
halfway.
compromise on this. You got all that dirt there. I mean, if it goes in the dirt, I think
Yeah.
it's a compromise.
Is
and-
there any ability to move the telephone pole that's right there? That seems like it's just right plunk
Dead
there.
center.
It is. It
Dead
seems,
center.
and there's no ability to move the
And,
pole.
The other problem, like, Marlene and I had a discussion today is, on, the Mass DOT project going on with the culvert right there.
Right.
They have the Jersey barriers there, which is impeding that entrance a little bit, so.
Have you talked with Mass DOT
I
about
have
that?
not. I think Michael, and I think there's something going on because Berkshire Gas has reached out
To the
for permitting
conservation.
and through the Concon that they're gonna
They're going to
do
be doing some
something there,
work.
so.
Well, see, I assume from that pole, the wire goes down in the ground to the property of the owner.
I
Now,
was-
from that pole, I assume they got to bring power to the lift station. They got to power it somewhere. So if you have the pole here, if you put a pole here and lines go across, then that opens up that whole area. Or if you we cut the wires up here and just divert the wires to go to the building. That's,
And I think that's one of the reasons that Michael wants to sit in on it, to
Mhm.
see, what can be done to try to alleviate the problems that are
Mhm.
existing.
Whatever meeting happens, just get all the parties there
Yes,
so that if,
absolutely.
so I'm assuming it's an Eversource poll.
Or Verizon.
Or
I mean,
Verizon.
it's one or
Could
the
be
other
either
probably.
So-
but-
Get them there. See if they can move the poll. See what's happening with the Jersey Bears. Get Mass
Mhm.
DOT there. Just get everybody at
Yeah,
the table.
I was asking
let's
if
just
those
get this,
barriers are permanent.
you know,
Could I ask?
Yes.
So Marlene, you know the nice gentleman, well, we've had a few, but from Verizon, the engineer, and when we were doing the, up at the Christmas tree farm,
Yes.
when we added the power,
Mhm.
he was here with his
His young son, that's right. Yeah,
I-
he's
Do you,
really,
maybe we could reach out to him?
Yeah.
If,
I just
I
have
don't
to
know what his
research
position
his-
is.
yeah,
If-
that was
If
a
you can
few
grab
years
his
ago.
name,
long time ago.
his
It
name and
was.
number, but
Yeah.
but maybe we can get somebody and say,
Yes.
listen, we have poll number, whatever it is. That's what they go by. Poll number 26 on,
Okay.
on West Street. Is it your poll or
Right.
not? And then if he says yes, say here, and then we can have
Sure.
a conversation with him.
That's
If he
it,
says
yeah.
no, it's
Mhm.
Eversource, which I think we've also had those folks in here too for different
We
things.
have, yeah.
The woman, yeah.
Mhm.
So let's just ask the question.
Yeah.
They might say,
Absolutely.
well, we'll move it, but it's going to cost you X, Y, Z.
Mhm.
Or they'll say we can't for whatever reason because maybe where it would have to be moved to, well, it might open up the area we want,
it's
might
really
be
in
a
a tough
problem
spot,
underneath that, right?
poll.
Terrible.
It's
Right.
in an absolutely terrible
So,
spot.
but
So
it made
let's-
sense at the time.
Let's,
Right.
I'm honestly, I'm kind of surprised that discussion hasn't
So,
happened
but-
before
Mm.
now, but
That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
Yeah.
We'll
To
find out.
Ed and
Contact those
Diana's point,
people.
let's just get everybody in there
everybody
Mhm.
there
once and
at
for
one
all
time.
and be done with
And
this thing.
I
exactly.
think that Diana, to your point, that it hasn't happened, the discussion is because that was not the original
Original, right.
location for the.
I know.
Right.
I know.
But now it is.
There's been a lot of discussion along this
An
little
awful
stretch
lot.
of land. Yeah.
But it has to get done.
Yes. That's why I think just having every single party,
Would the state meet with us too? Would the
I
Department
am
would
absolutely certain
DOT be
somebody
part
from
of
Mass
that? Yeah.
DOT will come out there.
the biggest obstacle's over. We got the money to
Yeah.
fix it.
So let's spend it,
Really, really huge. Really huge. Okay,
thankfully.
thank you.
Yeah.
Are you good, Phil?
That's great.
Okay.
All set for winter, should it ever
Oh,
arrive?
God forbid.
Sorry,
you
I
say
had to
that.
ask. He's
I
here.
know.
It's coming.
Ugh.
Plow, sand, dirt, salt, all that fun stuff.
We are
Ready to
in
roll?
the process of going through all our winter equipment, so, yes.
And I think in the last couple of years, weren't there some issues with salt? Are we good?
Not last year, but the year previous, 2 years ago, there was issues where
Right.
a supply issue.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
But
see
you
now-
could-
Middle of the pandemic, right?
Right, but
Yeah.
see now that what they have now is that they have through the Franklin County COG is they have the main bidder, the main low bidder, then they have the alternate bidder underneath the second bidder.
Oh,
So what we try to do in Hatfield is at least once a year, give that alternate bidder a little bit of business. That way, if that happens, hey, they bought from us, we'll help them,
Mhm.
So, because if you don't, if you're just going with the low bidder all the time, through the whole winter and something happens that they can't supply the salt, he's
Yeah.
going to surely give priority to who gave him a little bit of a business. So
Right.
we have the option to do that. So we do that.
May I ask one more question about
Sure.
Route 5? So all the paving is done down there?
All
The
the-
permanent paving as well as
Permanent
the,
Yes.
for the
From
part that's been
wherever-
completed?
Whatever areas was complete with
Yeah.
the sewer and water
Okay.
and all the lateral stubs are out. So, yes.
And then on the side, I know some of the residents' concerns were either cones or something from a safety perspective. I mean,
There was some metal plating and
Yeah.
there was,
do we know if that
I
has
think there
been
was one
resolved?
area where the plate has to stay all winter.
Yeah,
right?
one plate has to stay in, but again, I'm going to reach out to Ryan Gallagher to make sure he puts something over all the well points that are there.
Yeah, we just, we heard the concerns. It was just a few
Yeah.
weeks ago. We've done the paving as we said we would. We've had the meetings that Ed attended as we said we would. And we also said we would make this as clean as possible for winter and try to cut down on whatever noise we can. But yeah, wherever there's a plate, wherever there's not any sort of equipment left, that's an eyesore for people. we need to make sure that happens too. before
And
the-
Mass DOT went through with a punch list to make sure, on their part, as far as,
Yep.
because it's their road jurisdiction. And
Right.
everything was good on there.
Perfect.
So,
Good, okay.
I'm sure there's going to be a few calls about, there's a couple stones here or there.
Well, we've got to do our best so that you're putting our best effort forward. And if something else comes up, we'll have to address it. But, we certainly from the get-go have to make sure we hit on all the issues and concerns that the
Yeah,
residents
they're
out there
valid,
had.
they
so-
all have valid concerns.
Absolutely.
It's been a long duration,
Yeah.
they've been patient, but they have been
Absolutely.
patient and, so.
Yeah.
Okay, Phil,
So just one more
Oh.
thing.
One more
before-
thing.
One more thing, I know. So we took delivery today of some of the the crosswalk signals. So they'll be going up as soon as the bases come in, but we've had them delivered under the Shared Streets grant. So
Mm.
you'll be seeing them be put up as soon as the bases
down
come
here in
in.
the center of town area.
North Street. We're not doing Main Street until the spring because the police chief wants to reconfigure all these crosswalks out here. By Smith Academy, there's one, and then the one down there on Elm Street. So
Not the library?
there's no crosswalk.
There's
at
no
the library.
crosswalk there anymore. Okay. There used to be. I think.
Yeah, it went to nowhere across the street, though. That's
That's
why they
right.
eliminated it.
Right.
That's right.
That was for the
Okay.
drop-off when the elementary school
Yes.
was, when
Yeah.
Greer was there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now there's none of
Crossing guard Bob.
That crosswalk to the elementary school used to be Chief Shavuski would let the kids get across because people would park on the other side. So that's why that.
That
thing
is
was
a
there.
long time ago.
Yes.
That is a long time ago.
I'm
Thanks
just
for the
saying, but that's
history
why it was
lesson,
there.
Ed.
Thanks,
Chief
Phil.
Slavusky, wow. That is going back a ways. Okay, so we just have these employee forms. We just sign these or do we make a vote?
If you would take a vote, please, on the Council on Aging. One is,
Amanda,
right, in her position, the position was reclassified, which was already processed and approved a couple weeks ago. With the reclassification, the Council on Aging Board is recommending an increase in the rate of pay.
and this is all within their current
It is
budget
within their
parameters.
current budget. And so that position, actually, 6 hours of it is funded through taxation. The rest of it is funded
Through a
through
grant.
a grant.
Okay. And that's for Cookie. And then the
Correct.
one for Avery is
And she is going to be the new program coordinator. They just hired, if you read,
part-time.
it's a part-time position. Yes, it was part
And
of
that
their,
was budgeted.
it was included in their budget
the budget.
proposal and approved by the Finance Committee and Select Board.
Okay.
And she'll be starting next week.
Okay. You know what might be nice is if she came to a select board meeting and maybe we had a little
would be very
introduction.
nice.
Maybe you could see if she's available
Introduce-
for one of the next couple meetings.
Sure. I'd be glad to do that. Yeah.
Okay, so I need a motion on the,
I'll make a motion to approve the wage salary requests from the COA.
Second.
motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We need to sign these.
And the other is a request for an increase that has been earned for the administrative assistant, Gerard Bueno. And he has been with the town for 2 years now
Wow. that was
and
fast.
completed a very successful evaluation. And
I cannot say enough about Gerard.
Yeah.
He's wonderful.
he is.
And Karen, I'm going to throw Karen. in
Very
there,
much
too.
so.
You've got really great
am
staff.
Staff's
passionate.
doing a wonderful job.
Absolutely wonderful.
Yep.
So,
I'll make a motion to approve the rate adjustment requested for the administrative assistant.
I'll second that.
a motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
You're welcome.
And again, all within the budget.
Yes.
Yes. That is it for our posted business tonight.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, John.